This is the Aesthetic Ecosystems Podcast. I'm Ben Hale, your virtual design guide to help you and your family have a healthy, beautiful landscape with less work. What's up and welcome to the Aesthetic Ecosystems Podcast. This is episode 1 of the Aesthetic Ecosystems Podcast. That's right, the first episode of many to come. And we're talking about all the things you can do to have a low maintenance landscape, something beautiful, but also doesn't take tons of work to maintain, and how to have a healthy landscape at the same time. Healthy for you, healthy for your family, and healthy for your yard. Before we get into all sorts of tips and tricks and hacks and design fundamentals in future episodes, today we're going to be talking about some top level stuff. Mindset. Having the right mindset in order to have a landscape like this is very important, and what the right priorities are for you and your family and your landscape. Now, I'm super excited that you guys are here with me today. This is the first episode, like I said, of many to come, and in order to celebrate this excitement, we're having a launch party. Stay tuned at the end of episode for details. This launch party is going to be full of interaction, giveaways, and other things to come that will celebrate this excitement of this new podcast. And I really want you to be involved as well and have you hopefully have a chance to win some of these giveaways. So stay tuned for the details on that towards the end of the podcast. Now today, like I said, is about the right mindset for your yard and your life. Now, this may seem kind of cerebral or fancy or whatever, or maybe it's too la, but this is very important actually. So if you think about it, your yard and your lifestyle are very directly connected. If you have a house and you have a yard, which I'm guessing you probably do if you're listening to a home and gardening podcast. So if you have a yard, odds are you have to maintain it or you have to pay to maintain it. So in order for that maintenance, either time or costs involved, that directly affects your lifestyle. How much time you have to spend on your yard or how much money that you spend time to earn gets spent on your yard. And so this podcast is about reducing that maintenance burden in order for you to have more value, more time in your life left to pursue things that are more important. Again, that might seem like a stretch, but to me, that is fundamentally important to the principles of low maintenance landscape design and how it applies to you and the really important pieces you need to know to change your yard for the better, to have less work, increase your health, and increase beauty at the same time. So there's one core principle here in this whole episode. If you take away one thing, this is it. This mindset piece right here. Your family and your lifestyle are far more important than your yard. Again, this may seem kind of silly, but I see so many people that have this flipped around. We live on a street with just about 20 homes on our street. And of those homes, I see the majority of these people slaving away at their landscapes every weekend of the summer. Some people every single day of the week, they're out there working in their yard. And I don't want that to be you. There are far more important things you can do with your life, whether it's just sitting out in your yard and enjoying it, or making a difference in the world, or spending time with your family. Whatever it is, there are far more important things than having to go take care of your yard and to spend time working on your yard. And so if you don't understand that your family and your lifestyle are more important than your yard, and actually sit down and reflect on whether you have those priorities straight, then you may be spending way too much time on your yard than you need to. What really boils down to with this principle is time and focus in your life are very important. And where that time and focus is directed is very important. So when you're spending time cutting your grass or edging or weeding or whatever, that time is taken away from something else you could spend in your life. You only have a limited number of hours every week in your life from whoever you are, everybody has the same number of hours per week. Some people choose to spend it on making their lives better, pursuing their dreams, making the world better. And some people choose to spend that time on relaxing and enjoying life, contemplating life. Some people choose to spend that time on tasks that they feel need to be done and maybe just don't have to be done. Or maybe things can be changed where those tasks don't have to be done as often. And that's what we're talking about here, is that certain yard maintenance tasks, we can design those out or design to reduce those so you don't have to do them as often or as long duration. And instead, you can take that time and reapply it to something that makes a difference in your life and the world around you. Now, I've already put something together that can help you get time back right now with just some simple things you can do in your landscape today and throughout the rest of the year that will give you 27 hours of your life back just with these simple habit changes. So if you want to check that out, check it out in the show notes or go to aestheticecosystems.com/27 hours. That's aestheticecosystems.com/27 hours. And you can get that free giveaway right now. So back to the mindset stuff. What this can do is it allows you to have more time for your own pursuits. So by having an easy to maintain yard, you can free up time to do more important things in your life. Anything from spending time with your family to doing something even amazing and great that changes the world. Maybe it's helping out with charity or creating your own charitable organization or designing some outreach programs. Whatever it is, everything starts with the tiniest little bit, whether it's getting time back from your landscape or making drastic changes in your lifestyle. And what I'm talking about here is making small changes in your landscape and small changes in your mindset that allow you to have more time and more freedom in your life. Look, we're all busy these days, right? Everybody's got a job. They've got kids they're shuffling around to different programs. We've got some semblance of a social life, hopefully, that we can, spend time with a few friends on the weekend or whatever it is. But all of that stuff takes up a lot of time. And it's all very important stuff in order to have a good, healthy lifestyle with the people around us and the people we care about. But the parts that aren't as important is things like these scheduled tasks that we have to do or that we think we have to do that maybe don't improve life so much. And things like our landscape are very, very important to having a nice home, but at the same time, they aren't so important to have to spend a ton of time on. So with a difference in design or a difference in how you maintain your landscape, instead of having to schedule your life around your landscape tasks, you can schedule your tasks around your life. And so if you have to delay something a few days or even a week or so, it might not be a big deal at all. Instead of having to do a certain task at a certain time, or your landscape's going to look like a mess. This allows you flexibility in your lifestyle, allows flexibility to delay maintenance, and flexibility to do the things you want to do when you want to do them, and be a bit more impulsive about it at the same time. Sometimes to change your yard into something where it's more flexible, it takes less time to maintain, sometimes this requires an investment up front. I'll be completely honest here. Sometimes it requires a very drastic change in how your landscape is designed. But not always. And like I said, there's some things you can do today in just simple habit changes that will give you a massive amount of time back. Those are the things we're going to be focusing on in this podcast is those things that really, really make a big difference and in the long run give you the most impact for the time spent or the money spent. So that's where we're going to focus. But overall, sometimes there is an investment required to change your yard in a way that makes it easier to maintain and still has the beauty that you desire. Because let's face it, you could make your yard a low maintenance yard right now, but it probably wouldn't look the way you would like it, and not look the way that your neighborhood, your neighbors, and your city or township would accept. So we're talking about low maintenance principles here that can have a beautiful landscape. Your neighbors might not even notice that you're not out there every single day until you're sitting out there relaxing while they're mowing their yard every day or every week. There's a funny aside right there is we actually do have one neighbor that mows his yard every single day of the growing season. Now, that seems like a stretch, but it's true. This guy's out there. My wife, when she was on maternity leave with our oldest child, she called me up halfway through the week, and we had always joked like, oh, he's out there every day. And she calls me, dead serious, our neighbor has been out there every single day. Like, it's not a joke. He's been out there every single day cutting his grass. Folks, that's not a good thing to be doing with your time. Instead, we can be, I'm guessing I'm hoping that you're not out there every day with your landscape. And if you are, we can change that. We can give you time back. And I'm glad you're here if that's you. But I'm guessing you're probably not out there every single day. That's an extreme of the circumstance. But whatever it is, whatever your maintenance routine is, I can guarantee you that we'll find ways to reduce your maintenance needs in your yard and still have a beautiful yard. Sometimes, in order to make this change into having a beautiful yard, you may feel a little bit over your head. And we're going to be talking about a lot of things you can do. If you're that do-it-yourself, or everything you want to do yourself just to have, whether it's to have control over it or to reduce some costs or whatever, I totally get that. That's where I come from, is I have a do-it-yourselfer background, but I also acknowledge that when it comes to a landscape, or when it comes to any sort of project, sometimes having an expert to help you out with the design or the implementation of it really pays off in the long run. It could save you tons of time. It could prevent certain design flaws, and it might really be worth it. So it's something to consider, and we'll get into hiring the right kind of designer in future episodes, but it's something just to point out right now. Sometimes, even with the design phase, there's certain things you can do that really pay off and are worth the investment. Sometimes, too, you might want to have a landscape maintenance program in place. I know there's a lot of people that don't want anything to do with their landscape, and that's fine. It frees up a lot of your time to do other things that are potentially more important in your life. And sometimes the investment of hiring a designer and hiring a maintenance crew to take care of your landscape can free up a lot of that time. Now, of course, there's an investment required in that. And if you have the right kind of design, the maintenance program is drastically reduced when it comes to your yard. So we'll get into tips and tactics and finding the right designer as well as the right maintenance programs for your landscape. And that way, you might not have to have a maintenance program that comes by as frequently as the conventional landscape around you. What this does when you have this change in vision and mindset about your yard, where your life and your family is more important than your yard, is it not only increases your freedom from your landscape, but it also increases your pride, because you realize you can have a beautiful landscape. You can have what you want out of your yard without having to spend all this time and effort on it. So having to have the ability to decrease your burden from your landscape can actually increase your pride in it and how well it's designed and maintained on a less frequent basis. We're going to talk about in later episodes how you can actually involve your family in your landscape and surprisingly sometimes get them excited about being in your landscape as well. So when you have a beautiful, attractive landscape that doesn't take as much work, surprisingly, your kids may actually want to help you with the maintenance of it and also spend time in it along with you to enjoy it. So a healthy, beautiful landscape is something where it's an inviting space for you, your kids, your family, and your friends to be in more often and to enjoy it. Enjoy the variety of your landscape. Enjoy the textures. And enjoy the space, the inviting space that it's made to be. And that's what really landscapes are supposed to be, is to be an extension of your home, somewhere you can go to escape, to refresh, and to become invigorated with the natural surrounding of your own property. So that's what I want for you and your family, and I hope you want that too, is that your landscape is not just kind of a pretty ribbon to tie around your house, but it's something that's actually an inviting, opening space that both front yard and backyard, side yard, can be something where you want to be in that space, to enjoy it and to maintain it in a way where it's not a ton of work. And sometimes it's almost like a pleasurable thing where you can do little bits of maintenance along the way to reduce the long-term maintenance burden. Along with creating an inviting space for you and your family and your friends to be in and to enjoy the space of your yard, there's an additional piece that's very, very important, and it kind of comes hand in hand with the whole inviting piece. And that is creating a healthy space for your family. And what I'm talking about here is a lot of landscapes, we've kind of been, in a way, a little bit tricked about what a healthy landscape is, what a great landscape is. And so a lot of our landscapes are full of chemicals that are used to treat our landscapes, and also just kind of unhealthy practices, or not the most fun space. So whether it's having to use a lot of chemicals to maintain your landscape, or simply to have a space where the environment of your landscape is not so healthy, reduces the health of you and your family as well. And so what I'm saying about the environment piece is, if you have a wide open lawn totally surrounding your house, which, let's face it, most landscapes in the United States, that's how our landscapes are, is there's a big wide lawn, and these can be very pretty at times, but they're very susceptible to extremes in temperature. So if I'm out on our front lawn, our front lawn faces south, and there's a bank in front, and so if I have the kids out there playing and enjoying the time, usually we can only do that in summer, kind of mid-morning and late evening, because the rest of the day it's scorching hot out there. So how can we design our landscapes to be comfortable all day long and as much of the year round as possible? So have spaces where midday they're well shaded and nice cool spaces with a gentle breeze that comes through in midsummer. So we have a space all day around in the middle of the summer somewhere in our landscape to enjoy. So that's what I'm talking about. Not only being free of certain harmful chemicals that can potentially be harmful for your family, but also to be inviting spaces that are healthy for your yard, but also healthy for your family to enjoy and to be comfortable as much as possible. As we kind of wrap up here, I want to talk about some of the benefits of changing this mindset so we can have more time to do the things we want, things we love, or to even contemplate what we could do with that time. Let's face it, sometimes we're just so busy, we don't even get a chance to stop and think about life or about what we would like to do next, or if there's a next step for us, what is it? And so here's some of the things that we could do if we had some dedicated time for ourselves or for our family. First, you could just simply have more time with your family. Let's face it, it's so difficult with full-time jobs and with busy schedules to actually sit down with your family and create an enjoyable space and enjoyable time for all of our family members. Sometimes we're so stressed out, so tired or whatever, when we do have that time, it's difficult to be fully present. And so just by having more time on your weekends away from having to take care of your yard, you can have more time to spend dedicated to your family, of being fully present and being with them to enjoy it. Same, you could also spend that time with your spouse more fully. Let's face it, right now, I'm having a very difficult time. We have a newborn in the household, and my wife and I, we have a very difficult time just being together and having time to go on a date or whatever. And just freeing up more time during the week to have time together would be incredibly awesome right now. And again, we can talk about how we can do this, how we can have more time to do things like having more time with our spouse. So quality time, that's what we're talking about here, is quality time. You can spend this time actually working toward your life goals. Maybe you don't have life goals, right? Maybe you wish you had life goals. Well, this is time you could also spend just working toward figuring out your life goals. What do you want to do with your life? And can you really make space to make a difference? Well, that's what this time I really want us to spend it on, is fix our landscape to help fix our lives, to make our lives better. Maybe you just want to spend this time for relaxation, right? It's so hard with a go, scheduling out fully our weeks that we have a hard time scheduling in just time to relax. And so when we get this time back for ourselves and for our family, let's make sure we have time to just relax and to calm down for a little bit, because relaxing and calming down helps you focus so much and to start working toward the things that are important. And overall, this time can be used to help develop relationships or to redevelop relationships. They're so important to keep in touch with friends, family members, and making connections that it's so hard to do in a busy schedule. So again, just freeing up a few hours a week and several hours a year can really build up to make a significant difference in our lives. And so as we wrap up here, again, this whole episode is about making the point that our family and our lifestyle, the people around us, are far more important than our yard. And so if we flip that balance to say our yard is secondary to our lifestyle, how do we design our yard to fit that priority shift is very, very important. And we'll learn how to make that change in future episodes as we kind of build the pieces together and to help change your landscape. And again, if you want to step out and start just making simple habit changes right now that can make a significant difference in the amount of time you get back in your life, go to aestheticecosystems.com/27 hours for a free download. That's aestheticecosystems.com/27HRS. And get your free download so you can start making those changes today. So now we're going to be getting into the launch party piece of our episode here. And so stick around, get all sorts of information about this launch party, how you can get eligible for free giveaways. Okay, now it's time to talk about the launch party, guys. Excuse me, not party, but partay. The launch partay is for the first 2 months of the show, from March 11th through May 11th, 2018. I want to have some fun to help spread the word about the show. I really appreciate your enthusiasm and interest in this show, and I want to get you guys involved and have some fun while we're doing it. So this is a chance to have some fun, for us to get connected, to win some prizes. And let's talk about the prizes before we talk about what we're doing. So what are the prizes? Weekly, I'm offering a free consultation with me, Ben Hale, which is normally a $99 value. So one person each week that gets involved in the launch partay gets a free consultation. I'm also giving away a free offer for one of my ebooks, 10 Ways to Get More Beauty with Less Work, which is a $19 value. Next, the grand prize. There is only one of these we're giving away through this whole launch party. So at the end of the launch partay, the Organic Lawn Care Manual by Paul Tukey. So Paul Tukey himself has offered to give away one free book to a lucky winner that's getting involved in this launch party. And this book is all about how to manage a healthy lawn, from anything from a golf course style lawn to your low maintenance lawn, which of course is something I prefer here on this show, right? I own this book. I've read this book multiple times. I've given it away. It's a kind of a tattered and worn version that I have. And I use some of these practices in my own lawn. So I love this book, and I highly promote it as well, and you'll hear me talk about it throughout the show. But Paul Tukey has been kind enough to offer a copy of his book as a grand prize, and there's also a special surprise for everybody that's going to be getting involved in the launch partay. The Rolling River Nursery out of California has offered a special surprise for everybody that's involved. the Rolling River Nursery is a USDA certified organic nursery. So I went online and I looked around for nurseries that have online availability, shipped through the continental US, and have some great offerings. And Rolling River Nursery has been kind enough to become involved with our launch party. And they're not only are they online availability, but they also are certified organic, which means they don't use any harmful herbicides or pesticides that you have to be concerned with your family about. And so what you're getting is a safe and healthy plant. They also offer a ton of edible plants and trees and shrubs, cacti and succulents. So they offer several trees and shrubs that are adaptable throughout most of the United States. So definitely worth checking them out. And in addition, these guys are also involved with a nonprofit in Southern California to help local food movements called plantingjustice.org. So if you want to learn more about them, you can go to rollingrivernursery.com. And I also want to give a shout out to Paul Tukey's website. For his organic lawn care manual, and his other works is paultukey.com, PAULTUKEY. And to sum up, guys, okay, you want to learn how to get involved with this launch party? Go over to aestheticecosystems.com/pod launch, and that's PODLAUNCH. There's a link in the show notes, and that's going to give you all the instructions on how to get involved. There's two ways specifically to get involved. One is through sharing with your peeps on Facebook, and the other is through leaving a review on iTunes. Both of these are going to help spread the word about the show and get other friends listening to it as well. And I sure appreciate your help here. And likewise, this is going to be a fun time. So go on over and to aestheticecosystems.com/pod launch to get involved. Thanks so much for coming by and to being part of this launch. I'm so excited to be launching this episode and to be sharing my knowledge with you guys. And I want you to stick around and kind of be witness as we change our landscape as well to something beautiful, easy to maintain, and healthy for our family. And I hope you do the same for yours. So thanks for tuning in, and make sure you live with passion and make tomorrow better than today.